Matt, what is most important for everyone on the call today here to know about China? What is trying to accomplish? What's China trying to accomplish?
Yeah, well, look, the regime. There were things we had inklings about, and then things that some of us who were paying close attention to Xi Jinping's rhetoric and some of his actions were beginning to warn about. But now I would argue, it's not even hidden anymore as long as you're paying attention. That is to say, the aspirations of Xi Jinping and the regime in Beijing, which are implacably hostile to our interests and the interests of free and open societies around the world, are no longer hidden. And we just got a little taste of that last week with Xi Jinping visiting Russia, where he gave a speech addressing several of these other Axis members, as well as non-Axis members that are part of this BRICS bank coalition: Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and so forth, including South Africa. But what Xi Jinping is trying to do is to create new architecture in the world and put it in service of totalitarian aims. And so if you look at the ways that Beijing is beginning to work more closely with other authoritarian governments, not all the BRICS governments are authoritarian, but he's invited Iran into that organization. That's an authoritarian government for sure. Vladimir Putin is waging the largest war in Europe since 1945. North Korea is now sending troops to go fight and die in Europe to kill Europeans in that major war. Russia is now providing, according to the Wall Street Journal today, targeting information to help Iranian proxies launch missiles at U.S. Commercial and warships in the Red Sea. China is providing propaganda support and material support for the war in Ukraine and the war in the Middle East. So this is becoming an axis, a proper axis again, increasingly close-knit. It's congealing into something pretty ugly. And Xi Jinping is at the heart of it.
The broader point of why Americans should care about Taiwan. I'll use one of the quotes from something from your book to tee up your answer to the question. In the book, you write, "We face many geopolitical disasters, but nearly all pale in comparison to what would ensue if the People's Republic of China coercively annexes Taiwan." So why is that at the top of your list?
Yeah, it's at the top of the list because of what would happen to American security and prosperity very quickly in the event that China succeeds in coercively annexing Taiwan. The world's most successful democracy by some measures. In fact, there are several groups that rate Taiwan the most successful democracy in Asia, ahead of South Korea and Japan and others, would be extinguished, and China would have wiped out the first example of a largely ethnic Chinese society successfully implementing democracy. And to get a little more concrete, again, everyone on this phone call will be much, much poorer within days or weeks of an attack on Taiwan. And that's because Taiwan provides 93% of the world's high-end semiconductors. Those semiconductors cannot be built at the current cutting edge level anywhere else in the world. It would take years to reconstitute that capacity. Look, the United States is the key catalyst to deterrence against Beijing.
So you're familiar with Spirit of America's work in Taiwan, mobilizing civil society and building resilience. A lot of what you've talked about in the Boiling Moat is more on the military side, but how does our work on the civil society and resilience part of things, how does that fit with your view of what America should do to help Taiwan?
Yeah, so chapter 6 of the book goes into detail in countering what we call China's gray zone activities, which are these things short of military action. And it's really about building up a sense of national purpose, a sense of national will, transparency to help people be informed about the narratives that are being force-fed to them covertly, oftentimes by Beijing. It's often disguised as organic public opinion, when in fact there's a multi-billion-dollar machine at work, funded by Beijing, to feed these narratives in ways that degrade people's confidence. So building up civil society is going to be very important, also in creating a sense of confidence in Taiwan, among the Taiwan people, in their own defense.